Glad you joined us for a full review of the Nissan Qashqai in the new generation, or the Nissan Rogue Sport as it's sold in the US. And you can see here the front has been restyled. You have the dot structure, high gloss black. This is the so-called N-Connecta trim level in magnetic blue, a true Thomas blue. So a modern styling definitely for this new generation. Also here with the slim integrated daytime running light, LED main headlamps are standard now. And then one of my favorite features here, the stamped in Qashqai logo here. You can really feel it, very nice. And 18-inch wheels. Goes from 17 to 20, so 18-inch wheels here. I think a very good compromise between sporty look and comfort. The length here is at 4.43 meters or 174 inches. The new generation here of the Qashqai or Rogue Sport is a little bit longer and a little bit wider, but no major dimension change. What you can see here, as for the design styling, very clean design. It's a very consistent design. And here a nice dropping line dividing in light and shadow. You can also get contrasting roofs in black and grey, by the way. But here I think it works just better when it's a unicolor. And you can see here it is also split here, so you have this flying roof effect. What's interesting on the technology base is when you have the front-wheel drive model, as we tested last time, you have a torsion beam at the rear for the rear axle. Here now, today, the all-wheel drive model has multi-link in the rear. So the all-wheel drive model's supposed to be more comfortable as for the suspension. Later on in the driving part, we'll find out how much is that difference indeed. And the rear also proves my point with a consistent design. They're not playing around, yet at the same time it's joyful enough. You have the contrasting part here in the lower end, but no fake exhaust tips whatsoever. So I think they really nailed it with the design with this new SUV and also horizontally drawn tail lamps. Then let's directly take a look at the trunk. Here we go. We also have an electric tailgate available. The length here is at 80 centimeters or 31 inches, and the width a little bit more. So this is then about a meter right here, a meter or 40 inches, and the height about 18 inches or 40 centimeters. What's also interesting is that you have these lower covers here. This is sample luggage inside, also fold here 1/3, 2/3 split, and here you can then have even more height, or this split here to put a backpack up, here in here to have it upright. So this is a very practical solution. You can have the even loading sill, but then you can also make it a little bit different, and here you can also load things through. Car key is nothing special, but it's at least very, very light. Then the door closing sound. It's actually quite solid. They have improved that. This is cool. Then inside of the doors, soft touch materials here for the front doors, not in the rear, but considering the price, that's okay. And very soft here for your elbows. That's to me very important when I have my, elbow resting here during longer journeys. And you see also in this trim level here, there's a blue nuance in the leather red right here. That's very, very well done. And also everything, what you touch and so on. Massive improvement in this new generation. Also completely new steering wheel with a new styling here. And also the buttons, when you touch them right here, right side for the cruise control, real buttons still, so an easy user interface. And they worked on these button, on the button experience, I call it that way. Everything now from a higher quality. Once again, the blue leather red right here. Soft touch also for the top dashboard. And these are very cool seats in the N-Connecta trim here. Fabric on the inside, leather on the outside, and you have a blue nuance in there, so it has, a little bit more color effect. So very good job as for this. What about the comfort here, though, in this new generation? So it is a compact SUV, not too long, but you already have a good upright seating position. It's actually very comfortable, and the good thing here, the pricing. I mean, this car starts at about like 25K or something. And that's, of course, very attractive. One of the best offers price performance-wise on the market. Here, of course, when you have more extra equipment, all-wheel drive and so on, later on tell you more about the concise price of this vehicle here. Of course, a little bit more expensive, but still, even if you put it higher trim, it's very good considering also in the competition. 1.86 m or 6'1". Here the one without panoramic roof, and still a lot of headroom left. Steering wheel up and down, in and out, and here very smooth process. I can even do that just with one hand. Today with a big microphone, by the way, because there's a lot of background noise from the street, but not for you. So much has changed in the interior in this generation. Look at that, the blue leather red, soft touch indeed, really soft. And also here, for my knees, this is also softened up. So I can really recommend to go for this trim then, that you have that, because this is so much more comfortable, especially when you're going some corner driving and so on. Real climate knobs here also with the turning sound. So this is what I call an easy interface. We still want to have that while driving a vehicle. Heated steering wheel is available, by the way, inductive charging pad, and then 8-inch screen, or optional this 9-inch screen, and you still have a manual volume knob, and you can make things more modern in a vehicle, but why not keep things like these? Because we want to control that just, while driving. Why not? Here the steering wheel, new and modern, and then analog instruments base, optional these 12.3-inch instruments. And now a little bit more details to these screens. The digital instruments are clear to read, and what I found cool, they're not the most fancy ones, but here, do you see how fast it is actually to switch these things through? And quite often we nowadays see very complicated menu structures, but which are super slow or something, but here everything reacts very quickly. The new infotainment system also still has hotkeys here, that's very good. The map is, let's say, better than before. It's not the most modern one, but you can see it's actually responsive enough, so it's actually fairly usable. Hotkey to the camera system, resolution not the best, but not the worst. And you can also change it to the night mode or have the automatic light mode. So this is, once again, an easy user interface, and some of the German premium manufacturers can actually take a look at that. Sound of the base sound system is somewhat okay, but there's also an optional 10-speaker Bose sound system available. I recommend to you when you want to listen to, to more high-quality music here in the car. Apple CarPlay integration is also well done. So overall, why not? It's rather simple, but it does definitely the job. And here, interesting, from the park mode, you just have to pull it backwards in driving mode. So it's really easy. Just when you want to go to the reverse, then you have to hold the thumb button left next to it. When you go from reverse to D, just pull it backwards. So very easy solution, and looks also kind of cool and sporty. And this one here is setting then for the overdrive mode. For example, here in the sport mode, then also the RPMs are turned up higher. And in, for example, snow mode, the overdrive is also adjusted to that, and also the ESC and so on. And there's also an off-road mode available. Cup holder, sadly not adaptive. And then here, this armrest could be a little bit better attached. And this kind of split, so like this or like this. And then you have USB-C and USB-A charging as a choice. And you can now also get a head-up display. And yeah, that's a Tesla in the background. Best feature in the rear, the door is opening about 90 degrees, so that's really easy then to access it. By the way, at the inside of the doors, a nice blue leatherette then, also soft. And indeed, here, ISOFIX at the outside of the seats, and parents can easily install a child seat then because there's such a good access to the rear. Also with a beautiful fabric, bluish leatherette mix in the rear. And it's also fairly comfortable. Legroom, it does work for 4 tall adults. It's not the longest, compact SUV. So it does work, but nothing more. But that's actually fine considering the length. Headroom, also no problem with one with A6 or 6.1. And here you have a split of USB-C and USB-A in the middle part. Can we also sit in the middle section here? It's a little bit higher and stiffer, so it works for shorter journeys indeed. And then we also have this armrest here with cup holders. They are not adaptive though, so yeah, check out that the kids won't spill the things. A 1.3-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 140 or here today 158 horsepower, and then also the all-wheel drive option is available, and also optional with the automatic gearbox. That's the one we drive today. All-wheel drive plus automatic gearbox will be very interesting because of the more sophisticated rear axle and more comfort with the automatic gearbox. And how will the all-wheel drive play out? This will be super exciting. By the way, in the lineup, they also now offer a hybrid 1.5-liter 3-cylinder, but that one is serving as a generator and it drives in, at the end of the day, all electric. Interesting. So that one we will also drive at a later stage. Stay subscribed. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Nissan Qashqai or Rogue Sport in this new generation. The all-wheel drive, in normal conditions, it won't have a big effect here. It's really something if you want or need it, for example, when you live in, in an area where that's really crucial or necessary, or if you want to go on a skiing trip or whatever. It really depends on the region. In general, for the car, it's not really that necessary. But, for example, if you think about some, of our friends in the US and a lot of states there, their all-wheel drive can be very important in winter times, for example. And of course, also in Europe, in the Alps region and so on and so on. And, well, while driving, of course, it gives you somewhat of a different feeling. but when you accelerate slowly, then it doesn't make such difference. It has more difference when you accelerate a little bit harder, definitely. What is good here in the new generation that they worked on the steering feeling. So here it is very precise and there's no dead zone area. It is light to control because then parking in and out is easy actually. But here you have a very good feeling for the vehicle. It is sporty, definitely, but I mean, yeah, it's to me probably the best steering feeling we ever had in a Nissan. That's the thing. And also if you compare this steering feeling to the competition, this one here is really excellent. I can just stress that here. Very clear to read the digital instruments. And I think it's also a good approach that we have the hard buttons here, for example, here, steering assist off, just left next to the steering wheel. And if I want to set the cruise control, for example, I can do it here on the steering wheel with hard buttons. And then you can also have the lane change, the steering assist on or off. And that goes very quickly, I don't have to search for it. And at some point, maybe I want to have that assist. At other points, maybe I say like, yeah, whatever, I don't really want it, I don't really need it. But then I can actually quickly deactivate it as well. Noise insulation, they also worked on that. So here, also, let's pick it up here, 70, 80 kilometers an hour, something like this, like 40 miles, something. Actually reasonably silent. We'll also go a little bit faster very soon that we can compare that, but this is also something they have improved. And also as for the sporty handling, for example, this chassis here has been stiffened up by 50% in comparison to the predecessor. So when you are in a corner and you flex it or maybe do some slalom, not only by the steering, but you really also feel that the chassis is stiffer. And that's why it also accounts just for a better driving feeling. Here once again, good reaction steering wheel. The suspension doesn't lean too much left and right. Here the road is very well done. So can't say anything about potholes, but definitely also this ride is clearly smoother than we had with the front-wheel drive version, which had the torsion beam in the rear. So this one here now then, with the multi-link in the rear, you feel a massive difference indeed. So yes, the base version is less expensive. That is the main reason to go for it. But if you can afford a little bit more, yeah, I would go for the all-wheel drive version to have the more sophisticated rear axle rather than having the the all-wheel drive advantage for that. So that would be me like the reason number one. So I can just stress again. Also if you compare to the competition here, steering feeling good, more sophisticated rear axle, which brings you more comfort. Also here, what's very important, we have the 18-inch wheels here, so not the biggest ones, rather the smaller ones. 17 looks maybe more balloonish from the tires than 18. I think it's a good compromise between looks and the comfort. When you go for the biggest wheels, you will lose comfort massively. Here with the 18-inch, I think it's really, really good. So the car as it stands here now, it's probably the best way you can buy that one. Looking forward, of course, to compare the new hybrid system. That might be interesting, but so far, you can fill this up with petrol, no problem as it is. Yes, with hybrid as well, but we have to test this, this system first. But here I have to say, also with the blue exterior, interior with fabric leatherette seats, this is kind of a Qashqai dream setup. And still, yes, it's more, cost intensive than the base version. Here about 42,000 euros, the car as it stands here right now. That's of course not cheap at all anymore then. However, considering also what you get for that, how practical this car is, and also how easy it is to control and to use, and also that the competition in many ways is way more expensive, this is still a good price-performance deal. So what's missing? Yes, of course, about the performance here. It is not the most powerful engine. For most purposes, it will do the job, definitely. You can also pick the driving modes. You have this normal driving mode we had so far. But you can also, for example, have this sport mode here. Yeah, here now when we're going over some bumps, then you feel it's not, the best suspension in class, but definitely with the different rear axle is better than before. So overall, it's a very likable driving experience. The car does nothing very special or something, you know. But just in so many respects, it's just good and what you need in your everyday car life. Also here, when it gets a little bit more narrow in these traffic situations, no problem. It's not the biggest vehicle. And here, when I'm in the sport mode, I can, you know, fast accelerate out. This at times feels a little bit unnatural because of this turbocharge of this engine. So first it takes a while because of low displacement. Then the turbocharger sets in, and then you get this boost. So you have to get used to that, definitely. So here we go, and it's actually a lot of fun also to drive with it a little bit quicker. It's not a racing vehicle, not at all. The sound is also not the coolest, of course, from this small four-cylinder engine. But indeed, you know, this is one of the most successful vehicles worldwide in general, and also one of the most sold SUVs. And this driving part, once again, proves why. Now from 100 kilometers an hour, let's go. 120, 130, 140 kilometers an hour. So you see here, the small engine does struggle when it needs to accelerate when already at speed. So you can't expect big motorway overtaking maneuvers. However, here at a normal speed of 1 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, beside the raindrops that are dropping onto the windscreen at the moment, noise installation wise, definitely good, and massive improvement also if you compare the predecessor. So it's not the biggest SUV, it's not the most premium or sophisticated one, but even though in these, you know, rather unpleasant conditions, I'm feeling comfortably and safe and sound than here also on the motorway. What about the competitors here? For example, VW Tiguan or the Hyundai Tucson. And if you want to check out this vehicle here, different trim and also with the front wheel drive, click here.